Hey friends, today I want to talk to you about the 3 C's. Yes, cortisol, carbohydrates, and Candida, and how they impact our overall well-being, our ability to have healthy weights, healthy sleep, healthy energy for the day, all the things. So we have 2 adrenaline glands. They sit right on top of our kidneys, and they are in charge of our adrenaline hormone. They are actually designed to protect us so that if we need to have a burst of adrenaline for something outside of our normal scope of everyday life, we can count on that hormone to help us, right? Maybe you've had something happen with a child or something of that nature where it required a really quick response. You needed that burst of adrenaline in order to handle that situation, whatever it is. Maybe you've ever had a bad dream and you woke up from that dream, right? It was super scary. That was your adrenaline hormone that got ticking in your dream, and eventually it woke you up. Now, when we have a high adrenaline on a regular basis, that creates excess cortisol hormone. So adrenaline hormone that runs high taxes then and creates space for us to have high cortisol hormone. Now, I'm sure you've heard of cortisol hormone. It is commonly, not affectionately, but commonly referred to as our belly fat hormone. Yeah. So what happens is when we have high adrenaline on a regular basis, that creates excess cortisol hormone. And when we have high adrenaline on regularly, we don't get great sleep. We have higher hormone levels. So here we are trying to get great rest, and we're not getting great rest. And so then our hormone, adrenaline is pumping, our cortisol hormone. And so it's this very vicious cycle that can be hard to get out of, especially if we don't sleep great. We end up caffeinating. Caffeine causes more adrenaline response in the body. So we want to make sure that we get that to a healthier level so that we are sleeping great and we have healthier hormone balance. Cortisol is just a beast. It's something that maybe you're doing all the right things. Maybe you're eating great, drinking your water, all the right things. But if you have high stress in your life or high cortisol adrenaline levels, you will find that getting to that healthier weight can be a challenge, and that you might have excess insulin and excess cortisol imbalance and excess weight in the belly area. So something to definitely think about, but also work toward mitigation of that. So there's a couple of products that Plexus offers that I recommend to help keep that physiological response for everything that's happening in our lives to a healthier hormone balance with regards to adrenaline and cortisol. Some of my favorites are MetaBurn. It's got adaptogenic herbs that help the hormone balance. And we've got Vital Biome, which is a fantastic probiotic that helps with our stress response. We have Mega X, which is a plant-based omega, specifically omega 5 and 7 that are in there, help calm the body down. Personally, I love to take it at bed. It's very calming for me, helps me get great sleep. Especially when you combine omegas with probiotics at bed, you're going to find a higher restoration. Now, you want to get great sleep. You don't just want to be able to fall asleep and stay asleep, but you want deep rested sleep, because that's your body's time to regenerate, restore, so that you can get up for your next day and that you're vibrant and ready and taking on the whole day with everything that you can at your best capacity, so that you are your best self, right? So those are some things that I recommend. Now, another thing I recommend is to consistently keep your blood sugar balanced, because our blood sugar is insulin. It is our master hormone. So really it's the foundation that you should be operating at to keep your body consistently well. You have to consistently balance your blood sugar to keep your insulin hormone in balance. Next, I want to talk about carbohydrates. We love them, we hate them, right? Chips, soda, cracker, candy, all the things that are out there that are offered for us, things that make us feel better, right? They make us feel better. Potatoes, right? They make us feel better, but only temporary. And it's something that ends up creating havoc on our intestinal balance when we have a high carbohydrate intake. So there's good carbs and there's bad carbs, and we want to make sure that we're taking in minimal of the refined sugars and more of the healthy carbohydrates. Usually you should have, on a healthy level, you should have no more than 25 carbohydrates per day, okay? Healthy carbs are okay. You just want to make sure that you don't have too many. A great way to track and get your eye on how many carbohydrates you are taking in, because a lot of packaged foods have high sugar, high carbohydrate intake. A great way to track is to get an app like MyFitnessPal. They have a free version, and you can get in there and track. Just track for like a week, like your weekdays and a typical weekend, and see how many carbohydrates you're bringing in on a daily basis. We do eat differently during the week typically than we do a weekend. Weekends we're a little bit more lenient with our foods, right? So carbohydrates are not just about what they do for our healthy weight ability, because high carb means high sugar. High sugar means higher stress on our pancreas. Higher stress on the pancreas means potentially diabetes. It means that when your pancreas is burdened because the balance of your insulin hormone is not good, and you've got high hormone balance, that you are putting an excess burden on your pancreas, and when it operates at a less and less ideal function, it will burn out, and then you'll end up with things like your body storing fat with just, even doing the right thing. So that is it's a cycle that you're going to want to master and work toward healthier levels of carbohydrate intake, sugar intake. Also, physiologically, carbs break down into sugar. Sugar feeds yeast. Now, we want to have a healthy intestinal yeast balance in our body. We're born with it. Unfortunately, carbohydrates and sugar feed yeast, so it ends up growing, getting big. Kind of think of it like a Pac-Man. So the more you feed this Pac-Man, the bigger it gets. And it ends up being a beast in your body, because the more you feed it, the more your body physically. Have you ever wondered, oh my gosh, I wish I just didn't crave this? Because your body is craving it because you're feeding it. And the more you feed it, the more it wants. It is like a Pac-Man. It's like a total beast of a monster in your body that is, once you feed it, it's vicious. It wants more and more and more. So a great way to get that intestinal yeast to a healthier balance is to have something like Probio 5 that has enzymes that are going to mitigate and get your yeast level down, because it's got enzymes in there to break down that intestinal yeast overgrowth. You want to have about 85% good bacteria, and you want to have about 15% yeast. You have to daily mitigate yeast. Daily. You're bringing in sugar, you're bringing in carbohydrates. You have to daily mitigate what's happening on the inside of your body, what you're doing through that sugar and carbohydrate intake, okay? So track it, get your eyes on it, and make sure that you're taking care of everything in regards to that, because when you end up with an overgrowth of intestinal yeast, Candida, you end up with a whole slew of health challenges. You'll end up with a condition called leaky gut, and that means that your intestine contents are leaking out into your body, and then that opens up space for things like autoimmune illness. It's not fun, you guys. It's a vicious cycle. It's something you definitely want to get a hold of. You want to pay attention for it, not just for you, but if you've got people in your life, loved ones, family members, spouses, partners, siblings, children, you want to make sure that you protect all three of these C's for the whole family, because it ends up wreaking havoc. If you think wellness is expensive, you should try illness, because I've been there and it was not pretty. I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars mitigating that damage that happened over time. And it wasn't until I found Plexus that it really started moving the needle. I want you to know that you have access to amazing products that are going to mitigate, restore, and get your body back to balance. So it's so important to take care of those three C's: the carbs, the cortisol, the Candida. Keep all those things to a healthier balance, and you will find that you get to show up more of your best self in life. And we know you want that. Yes? All right. Well, thanks, friends. Let me know if you have any questions.